Hello, Mustangs, and good morning. Thank you for coming to the 2025-26 ASI Presidential Debate. My name is Maya McLean. I use the pronouns she, her, and I currently serve as the Secretary of Civic Engagement. I will be moderating this year's ASI Presidential Debate alongside Amelia Wu on behalf of Mustang News.
Thanks, Maya. Again, my name is Amelia Wu. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Mustang Media Group, who traditionally co-moderates the ASI Presidential Debate alongside an ASI representative. I'm excited to help the student body get to know their ASI presidential candidates.
Today, we will be meeting your 4 ASI presidential candidates and asking a series of questions ranging from their platform to common issues impacting students today. Our candidates for this year are Colin Shea, a third-year business administration major; Mark Cabaliza, a third-year bioresource and agricultural engineering major; Reagan Denny, a third-year bioresource and agricultural engineering major; and Alexis Espinoza, a third-year business administration major.
We have asked candidates to refrain from personal attacks or criticism and keep the discussion focused on why they are running for ASI president. Additionally, while we do encourage all to practice free speech, the views expressed by the candidates are their own and not a reflection of ASI, Mustang Media Group, or the ASI student government.
It is important to remember the significance of the positions you are voting on next week. The students on the ballot may be next year's elected leaders, responsible for representing the student voice, advocating for student issues, and managing the multi-million-dollar ASI budget. Voting is not just important, the decisions your student leaders make impact you on the day-to-day basis. I encourage you all to ensure you vote next Tuesday or Wednesday.
As a reminder, you will be voting on 2 elected positions next week. The ASI president represents the general student body and acts as the official representative of ASI to the Cal Poly administration and the general public.
The board of directors is comprised of representatives from each academic college that serve as the official voice of students regarding student advocacy efforts and ASI corporate activity. After casting a vote for president, students can vote for the board representatives for their academic college, located on the same ballot. Elections will be held next week from 8 a.m. Tuesday, April 22nd to 8 a.m. Thursday, April 24th. Any matriculating Cal Poly student is eligible to vote in the election, including those on academic probation and graduating seniors.
Students interested in having a role in ASI student government are encouraged to file as a write-in candidate for the ASI president or ASI board of directors. Write-in candidates' names will not appear on the ballot, but can be written in by voters on election days. You can visit the recruitment and elections webpage of the ASI website for more information on that.
This debate will be in a question and answer style format with 1-minute candidate introductions, 1 minute and 30-second responses, and will conclude with a 1-minute closing statement. After all pre-written questions have been answered, there will be time for candidates to provide a 1-minute rebuttal to any of their opponents' previous answers or arguments. Following the rebuttal portion of the debate, the candidates will answer questions from the audience. Please visit Peyton at the front of the stage to submit a question. We will be taking questions during the entire debate.
We will now move into the first part of the debate, which features questions that have been pre-written by ASI and Mustang News. Candidates and their campaign workers have not received any of these questions in advance, only a list of possible topics 24 hours before the debate start time.
Questions will be answered in a staggered manner and will rotate answering first. The first question will go to the candidate to my left, and the second question will start with the candidate on their left, and so on. Colin, please start by introducing yourself and telling the student body why you are running for ASI president.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Amelia. And thank you to each one of the students that are here today and the rest of our community members, staff members, and all other people that are in the UU Plaza today. Thank you for being here. Like Maya said, my name's Colin Shea. I'm a third-year business administration student. I'm here, like the other 3 candidates, to run for ASI president. My campaign runs on 3 points: action, representation, and transparency. In the past year, I've had the opportunity to serve as the ASI Chief of Staff, working directly alongside our current ASI President, Ashley Spraggins. I've had the opportunity to help her complete each and every single one of her campaign promises to each and every one of you last year, and I plan to do so with my campaign next year. To me, action means implementing results that you want to see on campus, representing you in the opportunities that you want to see by talking to students in their clubs, classes, and other organizations on campus. And the transparency piece to me means that we are getting in front and telling you the decisions that we will be making to make sure that you're aware. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Cableza, and I just want to say thank you to Amelia, Maya, and all the staff that helped put this event together. I'm a third-year bioresource and agriculture engineering major, and here at Cal Poly, the reason I'm running to be your next ASI president is because I know that students here don't feel like they have found their community, and I want to break barriers down in order to ensure that students find that. I found my community here at Cal Poly through the BRAVE program, through the club men's beach volleyball team, and through the friends I made in my freshman year dorms. But I understand that there are issues that students face that stop them and disallow them from being able to easily find their community here on campus. Through my campaign platforms like Student Life, Student Safety, Student Support, and Student Advocacy, I hope to address these barriers and make it easier for students to find that community, to find their place here at Cal Poly, and ensure that this is the quality of education that they are paying for. I'm looking forward to this debate, and thank you to everyone for being here today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Reagan Denny, and I'm running to serve as your voice as ASI president. As a STEM major with a liberal arts minor, I've met students across this campus. Across campus, I hear the same thing. Students love Cal Poly. They love San Luis Obispo. And they feel disconnected from the decisions being made that impact their educational experience. I am running for ASI president because I believe that we can do a better job connecting you to the decision makers that impact you. If I was in those rooms representing you, I would be focused on your rights, your resources, and your relationships. I've spent the last year working as the chair of the ASI Board of Directors, fighting for you with administration every single day. I want to work for you, with you, to leave Cal Poly better than we found it, together.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexis Espinosa, and I'm currently a third-year industrial technology and packaging student here at Cal Poly. My concentration is industrial technology, and I'm an Audi intern. Audi is the Office of University Diversity and Inclusion. I serve as a HSI Student Task Force intern, as well as community outreach intern. I'm also the Vice President of Outreach for the OCOB Ambassadors, and I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Club Development in the Latinx Business Student Association. I'm here to represent the students. For the past 3 years, I have worked to serve and ensure that all students feel seen, heard, and welcomed, and that is through my work and experience with my student lived experience. I'm the only candidate here not an ASI, and the reason being is because I have dedicated my time and efforts to make sure that I am involved face-to-face with students. I want to hear your voice, I want to amplify your voice, and I want to support you as a student to make sure that your journey in higher ed, as we are all navigating it, is great.
Thank you all. We are beginning with Mark for our first question. The question is as follows. Recent government directives have led to major and rapid changes in higher education. Cal Poly is facing CSU budget cuts, preparing for the integration with Cal Maritime, and transitioning from quarters to semesters. How do you plan to manage and react to major changes that will impact Cal Poly students, faculty, and administration?
I think all the budget cuts and all the transitionings happening here on campus speaks to a broader issue that Cal Poly students are facing. That students feel disconnected and that there's so many changes happening that they feel like Cal Poly is focused on the students from tomorrow rather than the students here that are currently paying the fees that they do. What I want to do next year is ensure that every student feels represented. And what are the steps that we can do in order to ensure that? For me, a big portion of what I want to do is talk to students every day, as many clubs and organizations as possible, and ask you, what are the things that you want to improve, what are the things that you want to see, and what are the things that we are lacking? I have a track record of being able to do it this year. As a chair of the University Union Advisory Board, something that I've been able to do is listen to student feedback and implement it. From installing free menstrual products in the University Union, to installing gym machines and better equipment in the rec, to massage chairs, I've worked tirelessly to ensure that every student is heard and their demands are met. My goal next year is that despite all these transitions, that nothing is going to impact students negatively. And the way I hope to do that is by listening to you, seeing where you are at, and meeting you in terms of what are the resources that you need in order to succeed here at Cal Poly.
Let's face it, Cal Poly is changing, whether you like it or not. We can either sit here and complain about these changes, or we can embrace them. We can use them as an opportunity to do better. As Cal Poly changes to embrace what it needs to be in the future, to serve more students across the state of California, we need to change with it. I intend to use the opportunities that come with changing from quarters to semesters, combining with maritime, to find more opportunities for Cal Poly students to better their education. You deserve the opportunity to go on the ship at maritime. You deserve to look at how can we make your class more learn by doing over the semester. We can use these as opportunities to get even better. We spend a lot of time complaining about the changes that are coming to Cal Poly. I think change is a fantastic opportunity for you and me to evaluate our practices and to make them even better. I would like to listen to your voice in these transitions by holding quarterly student halls with President Armstrong so that you can tell him what you want to see change. Change is an opportunity. Let's use it.
Through my experience as a student and as a leader on this campus, I have worked to make sure that all students are seen and heard. Through an advisory board that I helped launch and currently am a part of, which is HSI Student Advisory Board, I make sure that all clubs, org, and leaders within prospective colleges and departments have visibility for their students, funding for their students, and support for their students. Many of us rely on clubs, orgs, programs to make sure that we have a great and successful higher education journey. Through my experience with the Latinx Business Student Association, with the Latinx students in OCOP being the leading underrepresented and minority group, I have helped them grow 2 times the size and helped them get thousands of dollars as well as sponsors in and out of Cal Poly. I want to do this campus-wide. I have the experience through Audi with that student advisory board that I helped launch. We help students across all colleges gain visibility and experience. I want to have a student advisory board for you guys as well. I want to make sure that this is a campus-wide advisory board. I want to build connection, and I want to build communication with the students. That's the only way to build transparency, and with transparency comes with trust. I want to ensure that ASI has trust with their students.
I think it goes without saying that there is a lot of change coming to our campus, but it doesn't necessarily need to be thought of as negative. You're right. Integrating with Cal Maritime is something that students have questions about, and I want to make sure that students are informed. It's a great opportunity for us as Cal Poly not only to serve the state of California, but also the entire nation, as it's one of our 6 maritime academies in the United States. But what I can promise to each and every one of you is that I will advocate for your student fees to make sure that we're supporting our campus first. One of the biggest concerns that I've heard is that students are worried that their student fees are going to go to the Maritime campus and not provide programming and support to their time at Cal Poly. It's important to support both campuses, but it's important to make sure that our fees are going to the students that they're in the place that they're paying for them. In relation to quarters to semester transition, it's important to recognize that this is going to be a transition that may not go smoothly, but it's most important that students stay informed. This past week, under my leadership, we brought in the lead of the quarter semester transition team to our ASI executive staff, helping inform students and answering their questions. This is something that I can promise to each and every student that will be here during the time of quarter semester transitions that we will continue to do to make sure that they are most informed and that their campus, their college advisors are up to date on the most informed information. I can promise that to each one of you, and I hope and I expect that all of our campus partners are able to uphold that and help each one of you with our quarter semester and maritime transitions.
Thank you, candidates. Again, Peyton is accepting audience submitted questions here at the front. That will happen at the end of our debate if you wish to submit a question. Starting with Reagan, our second question is as follows. Higher education institutions are facing increased scrutiny and backlash for their DEI policies, with some facing legal challenges and public criticism. Yet, DEI programming is something that is important to many of our campus groups and their students. What role do you feel DEI should play within ASI and on our campus next year?
DEI is one of the listed core values of ASI. If we're going to list DEI as a core value, we need to live that every single day. I have been living DEI as a core value every single step of the way in my time in ASI, and I'll tell you a little bit about how. Last year, there was a fight to cut Dreamer and Indigenous student scholarships. At the time, I voted against it, but I went a step further. I used my position this year to write new policy, ensuring the safeguarding of these scholarships for the future. And here's why. DEI is being threatened not only at our institution, but at every institution in the country. If we are going to stand on the values that we say that we believe in, we have to stand not only when it's easy, but when it's hard. Right now is one of those times when it's hard. I believe the duty of the ASI president is to stand for all of Cal Poly students, not just the students who meet their niche interests, not just the students that they look like or sound like. If elected, I will use my position to meet as many Cal Poly students as possible and build a cabinet as diverse as possible, because I can't pretend to know your exact need, but I want to hear your voice, I want to learn from you, and I want to fight for you, just as I've done my entire time here at Cal Poly.
Through my entire journey here at Cal Poly, a lot of my work has been based off diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially as an intern with the Office of University Diversity and Inclusion, who works on campus-wide initiatives. As an HSI task force intern, I was implemented into that position to make sure that all students had a strong foundation. And as VP of Outreach, I wanted to bring back the high school initiative. And what I did with that, I was able to merge my high school, my old high school from East LA, with Cal Poly, who now have a strong partnership that will be long-term. These students now have access to programs like EOP, Scholars, TRIO, and mentorship prior to coming to Cal Poly. A lot of these students, 96% of these students, are first-gen, low-income, and underrepresented students. They now have the chance to be the first generation in their family and build a path. I have been doing that on campus for students as well, with my work in LBSA, with my work in Audi, and with my work in Ambassadors. I want to do that campus-wide. Bringing opportunity to the students and ensuring that scholarships are never at stake is important. I was there at the forefront when that scholarship was taken away. I was up here in the UU in room 219, fighting for everybody who relies on that scholarship for a clear pathway for not only themselves, but for their family. I will make sure that every student here on campus feels seen, heard, valued, and has a sustainable future. Thank you.
There's no question about it. All students belong here at Cal Poly. They need to feel like they belong, and there's no exceptions to that. As ASI president, I will support, represent, and defend all students to ensure that they have the best experience possible during their time at Cal Poly. What that means to me is collaborating with student organizations, our student diversity and belonging centers on campus, councils, and all of our colleges to know that I'm not just someone to be a presence, but I'm here to be an ally and someone that's accessible to them when they need resources. DEI isn't just a value, but it's a commitment to action. I'll push ASI to live up to it. It doesn't just play into the programming that we do or the partnerships that we make, but it goes into the recruitment efforts that ASI has. As ASI president, I will make sure to not only recruit a cabinet that represents all students, but push ASI in our next recruitment and elections session to make sure that we are reaching all students and feel like they have the opportunity to come out and represent the students of Cal Poly.
Like Reagan mentioned earlier, ASI's core value is DEI, and this is something that I've lived and breathed for the past 2 years. What I want to do and want to show everyone here today is that I've done the work in order to ensure that we are meeting the diverse needs of every student here on campus. Whether that's putting a $25,000 donation to the food pantry to allow them to have better access and provide groceries to students here on campus, or to the $65,000 increase in the preliminary budget that I put in for club funding in order so that clubs and organizations can have access to put on better events for the students that they serve. For me, DEI is not just a talking point, it's something that I live and breathe and something that I've taken action with every single day the moment I stepped here on campus. What I want to show and prove to all of you is that there are people up on this stage who have committed their work in ASI and even just outside of it. And there's also, what I want to be able to show you all is that the actions that I've done is something that, I want to keep protecting diversity, equity, inclusion here on campus. And even though right now it's hard with all the public scrutiny, I want to ensure that DEI remains at the forefront of our values and at the forefront of my mind next year as the next ASI president.
Thank you for those insightful responses. Our next question will begin with Alexis, and this is as follows. Social events and traditions like St. Patrick's Day have created tension with local community. How would you balance students' desire for social activities with the need to maintain positive community relationships?
With a lot of my work revolving around events and outreach, I've been able to experience how students like to live here at Cal Poly. We want to be fun, we want to have fun, but we also want to be safe. So as I was talking to a lot of students throughout my campaign, and just as a student in general, I hear a lot of disconnection with first years as well as second years and third years, right? I want to create more opportunity for connection within this. I know a lot of us celebrate what we call fun in different ways, whether it's culturally or with music. I want to create more of those opportunities. I think a perfect way to do that is here on campus. We have Dexter, and we also have a lawn over here in the YTT dorms. I think that's also a great way for first years to get involved on campus and feel like they have community as well. One thing I heard a lot about are that first years do not feel like they have a lot of opportunity to get engaged or involved on campus. This is a perfect way not only to have fun, but to build community.
In a city like San Luis Obispo, community relations is one of the most important things. We have full-time students that go to Cuesta, full-time residents, city officials, and all other sorts of residents in San Luis Obispo. Community relations is really at the central of what my leadership across Cal Poly's campus has been. In my other role, I serve as the Interfraternity Council President, overseeing all 18 fraternities on campus. And as you can imagine, that can be a very contentious topic when it comes to community relations. But this past year, starting the fall, I was able to organize the first ever Meet Your Neighbors competition in partnership with Cuesta, the city, residents, encouraging all students and San Luis Obispo residents to build real connections with their neighbors. Through this past year, I've served on the Student Community Liaison Committee in 2 different positions. First in the fall, as a Cal Poly student at large, representing all students at Cal Poly, and currently in the winter quarter and now in the spring quarter as the IFC president. This means that I've directly engaged with neighbors, city leaders, and students to address challenges and create lasting solutions. As ASI president, I will continue to bridge and not add a barrier between students and the community that we call home. When we talk about St. Patrick's Day, that was at the forefront of what I had done all of winter quarter, working both on the ASI and the IFC front, coming up with solutions that are not only safe, but exciting for students to come onto campus and change what they believe is that tradition that has been around campus for a long time. I'll continue to work and protect this and expand this over the next year as ASI president.
Something that students don't know is that there are multiple facets within ASI, and one of the ones that put on the big concerts and events that you see today are ASI events. Next year, currently right now, there is the ASI events just doubled their budget in order to put on more events and more activities here on campus for students. And what I want to ensure is that every organization, every club, every student here on campus is represented through the events and concerts that we put on. Something that I've heard from students when just talking to them and asking them during my campaign is that they feel like the events here on campus is not necessarily representing them or the needs that they see. So next year, I want to work in order with ASI events to ensure that obviously the concerts and events that we put on represent students. As the ASI president, next year, I will get to serve as the chair of the Student Community Liaison Committee, and something that I want to continue to work on next year is obviously the community relations between students off campus as well as the public. And the way we do this is obviously working with Mayor Stewart and allowing them to obviously, one, showcase the good things that Cal Poly students do, but also at the same time, helping bridge the gap that students don't see with our neighbors. Right now, currently, I've worked with Mayor Stewart and had conversation with her for the past 2 years. And if I'm elected into this role, there won't be such a big barrier in order to make that relationship with them. I want to ensure that students have the fun, engaging campus life here on campus, but also at the same time that they're continually highlighted for the great things that they do off campus to ensure that the city of San Luis Obispo thrives as we represent over 25,000 or 25% of the student population here.
My very first year in ASI, I served as the chair of External Affairs, which is ASI's committee that handles its external relationships with the city, essentially. In that role, I attended almost every single city council meeting for a year. It was a lot. Here's what I learned there. The city doesn't hate you. The city really loves their lawns. So here's the deal. We need to find opportunities for students to have fun, for students to release some steam. without messing with the lawns of San Luis Obispo. Here's how I think we do that. This year, the ASI officer team, which consists of myself, Mark, and Ashley, the current ASI president, were approached, asking if we wanted to hold an alternative event and partner with the school and help them handle it. We were scared, I'll be honest. But we said yes, because we knew that we needed to serve Cal Poly students to provide them an opportunity to let off some steam. If I was elected ASI president, I would redo those opportunities. We would do St. Patrick's Day again. Because you deserve the opportunity to let off some steam, you just need to really not mess with local citizens' lawns, because that's really all they care about.
Thank you, candidates. Our final pre-written question will begin with Colin and is as follows. As ASI president, you'll be a spokesperson and an advocate for the entire student body, requiring you to effectively communicate student concerns and priorities that may differ from university administration decisions. How would you navigate this dynamic to ensure you are effectively representing students while maintaining a productive relationship with university administration?
I think there's multiple parts of this question. First of all, I will promise to each and every student that my goal will be to be not only the ASI president that people know my name, but the ASI president that's accessible, people know how to get in contact with me, and I will be reaching out to each and every club, center, council on campus to make sure that we can set up meetings to talk and see what's going well, what's going bad, what can we change, how can we improve your Cal Poly experience. When it comes to university administration, the connections that I built with higher administration and campus is crucial to be able to build upon that next year. Some of the relationships that I've built this year that affect the day in and day out of the campus environment are those relationships with transportation and parking, dining, emergency service, campus safety, making sure that you not only have a fun but safe time on our campus. Having these pre-built relationships will give me the opportunity to expand upon these and represent students, bringing the feedback that I receive through each one of those meetings. The opportunity, I will make sure that all of my ASI office hours are advertised and students know where to come in and talk to me.
This past year, I've had an opportunity to serve as the chair of the University Union Advisory Board, and in this role, I've also gotten to serve as the corporate ASI officer representing students at the higher administration level. Something that I've been able to do this whole entire past year is build relationships with higher administration, whether it's quarterly and monthly meetings with President Armstrong, meetings with our new Vice President of Student Affairs, Terrence Harris, or even talking to other services like transportation parking services with Takudo. I have the pre-built relationships in order to enter the next year and be able to establish trust from the get-go. As ASI president, I get to build a cabinet that has 9 secretaries. And what I want to ensure is that we have a secretary that represents students from all across campus. And the way that we are going to represent students is by being able to ask you, what are the things that you want to see improved? Next year, one of the initiatives that I want to do in fall quarter is ask as many clubs and organizations, what are the things that you want to improve? And what I want to do with your voice and that platform is go up to President Armstrong, go up to our new Vice President of Student Affairs, Terrence Harris, and tell them, these are the things that students want. As someone who has the relationship with them, we can have those hard conversations from the very beginning of summer quarter and know that I am someone who will fight for you and someone who this administration already trusts because of the pre-built relationships that we have with them.
There are 2 types of leaders. There are leaders who lead from behind a desk or behind a screen, and there are leaders who go out and meet people where they are. If elected, I would like to be the latter. Throughout the course of my campaign, I have walked through dining halls, club meetings, all across campus, asking students 2 questions. What do you love about Cal Poly? And what would you change about Cal Poly? When students are asked what they would change about Cal Poly, the overwhelming answer is that they don't feel heard. Students don't feel like their voice matters. If elected, I don't want to hold my office hours behind a desk. I don't want to sit in my office for hours in a week hoping that you come to me. I want to come to you. I want to be in your club meetings. I want to be sitting out here in the UU talking to you about your issues and connecting you to administration. You deserve a louder voice with the people who make the decisions that affect you. I've met monthly with Armstrong for the past year. It's not going to take him 6 months to get to know me. I can come to him with the issues that you face every single day, and I'm confident in knowing what those issues are because I didn't guess. I asked you. That's the type of leader that I want to be.
As a student leader on this campus, I've been involved in many of the initiatives and launches of programs and resources on this campus. Working with Audi, one of our initiatives is the Diversity Partners Network. And with this network, I help with logistics and planning as well, where we have many of the faculty, staff, leaders join this, especially those like Erica Stewart and Armstrong as well. So I also have connected with them, and I have been able to implement initiatives and start work with them as well. I have many involvements, which means I have heard many voices. I'm representing the student voice, especially those that have often been overlooked and felt unheard for a long time. Many people trust me and many people see me. My work is really valued, especially with the purpose and intentionality behind it. I've always put people first, and I will continue to do so, especially through the initiatives and involvements that I'm already in. This past summer, I spent my time as an infrastructure intern, and I was able to help Cal Poly secure a multi-million-dollar grant for solar panels and solar energy. I have the institutional knowledge, and without that knowledge, that grant would have not been received.
Thank you all. We will now enter into the rebuttal portion of the debate, where you will have 1 minute to respond to any of your opponent's previous answers. Mark, you may begin.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say that I think we have seen that there's great quality up here on the stage with Colin, Alexis, and Reagan. The only thing that I want to mention is obviously in our first question, when we talked about transitions and how do we represent students, we said that change is opportunity. And something that I would just like to ask the rest of these candidates up here on the stage is how are we going to ensure that every student understands the opportunities that are provided despite all of these changes? Because I feel like right now, something that Alexis mentioned is obviously that right now, we currently just don't have the trust of the student body with all of the transitions happening. So I would just love to know a little bit more about the steps and actions that all the candidates here on stage will take in order to ensure that, that the students understand that change is opportunity here on campus.
Throughout the course of this debate, you've heard from fantastic candidates who have the full potential to represent Cal Poly. There's no argument about that. This is one of the strongest slates that we've seen in the modern history of Cal Poly. I think anyone who's up here can do this job. What you have to ask yourself and what you have to listen for is who's going to do the job for you? Who's going to represent your voice and fight for what you believe in? You need to think about where your values align. What you've heard a lot from me and how I've structured every single answer is I've started with what I've done and I've ended with what I will do. I want to hear more from everyone else in here, not only about what they've done, but what they will do going forward. Because you deserve not only to hear a list of qualifications, but concrete plans for your future and how people plan to represent your voice for the next year. Thank you.
One thing I want to point out is we're all great candidates. We've all done many things. As a one person not in ASI though, like I said, I've heard many voices, some that have been overlooked. As we all continue to campaign, I want everyone to think about which candidate is going to reach those who are overlooked and often go unseen. All I ask is that the students are put first, and that with the campaigns, I want to ensure that all students are heard, seen, and valued, whether it's financially or through advocacy. Because one thing about advocacy is that it can't be supported, it can only be lived.
I think each and every one of the candidates up here has kind of said a similar thing in the fact we're all qualified in some capacity. We all have experiences. We've all had leadership opportunities. I think the one thing that sets me apart from the other three candidates up here is the opportunity that I've had to shadow the current ASI president throughout the entire year, making me the most ready to take on this job. It's not just being a representative of ASI this year, but it's also making sure that we're completing goals, completing initiatives, and figuring out how that internal process works. I've had the opportunity this year to not only evaluate the process that we use to make sure that we're using your student fees effectively, but also increase that to the capacity where we're able to get more programming out in a quicker amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Throughout the debate, audience members have been submitting questions. We have selected 3 for our candidates to answer today. Our staggered structure will remain the same. Reagan, the first question will start with you and is as follows. There is a bill coming before the ASI Board of Directors that would change the ASI president's start date from June 1st to August 1st. Do you believe the work should start as soon as the president is elected? And what do you plan to do first if elected?
I would like to preface this with the fact that I currently serve as the chair of the ASI Board of Directors, and I'm pretty strictly not supposed to speak on my beliefs about a bill because I'm not supposed to influence the vote on the bill at all. So I need to really specify that this is me speaking as Reagan Denny and not me speaking as the chair of the Board of Directors. I think that it has to be the choice of the person. Me personally, if I was elected, I would be here all summer because that's the promise that I made to you. I promised to commit myself to you fully, and I promised to give you my everything. I don't know that I could do that coming in the middle of the summer, but I think that that's something that candidates sometimes have to decide on their own. I would want to start my candidacy off with meeting with all of the people in administration and helping them understand exactly who I am and what makes me, me. I think that's where you see true change happen, is when people have relationships. The reason that ASI has been able to so successfully talk to administration about things that matter is because they know us. They need to know me as more than the ASI president, but as Reagan Denny, the farm kid, the engineering major, the maybe future lawyer, we'll see. I want them to know me as a human being, and that's what I would be focused on all summer.
Alexis.
I guess I also cannot talk much about a bill. But if elected president, I would not start in August. I would start the second I find out I am elected, which would be the 24th. I already have a plan in progress, and I already know what chairs I would like in my secretary and my cabinet. A lot of my work revolves around making sure the student voice is heard, and a lot of it involves my experience as a student with my student lived experience and my background as well. I want students to also know me for who I am, my upbringing, how I got here, and what I want to do for you all. Come from a background with not much knowledge of institutional resources, not much higher ed background. So all the work that I've done is at the forefront of just supporting those who need a strong foundation. I have the ambition to lead you all, and I have the direction, and I know the direction that I want to go in.
I think the biggest thing is that no matter what, if this bill was to be changed or not, the ASI president has to be doing work the entire summer, whether that's in SLO or out on vacation, if you want to take a week off, whatever it may be, you have to be doing work the entire time. Whether you're building relationships, planning, setting goals, setting initiatives, working with your secretaries to make sure that they're ready to hit the ground running in the fall quarter, it's important to be present. Whether that's present in person, present online, that's what's the most important. Well, I can promise that I will be here to engage with students, whether they're on campus, new students during SLO days, of course during WOW, and make sure that I am able to be that opportunity for students to engage. What I really think is important, though, is that the executive cabinet is the one branch that you have to hit the ground running day one. And like other candidates have said up here, the work starts before the school year even ends. So it's no question that no matter who wins ASI president should be expected to start to run, or start their term as soon as the election starts, building their cabinet, selecting a chief of staff, and things of that sort. So I can promise to each and every one of you that the work will be done over the summer, and that we will make sure that we build the relationships and start those goals and start those initiatives so that we're ready for students to be back day one of the fall quarter.
I believe that it is a privilege to serve as the ASI president, and that is why I will be here and starting as soon as I get elected, if that were to happen next Thursday. It's a privilege to represent the students that elected you. It is a privilege to represent the thousands of voices that want to be heard and want to be seen across campus. So yes, I believe that the president should be here over summer, and know that I'm someone who is ready to hit the ground running as soon as you elect me. I've done the work this year to address some of the issues that students face, whether it's basic needs or affordability, and I want to ensure that, and want to let you all know, that I know that the work is not finished yet. I still have another year left at Cal Poly, and regardless if I win or lose, I want to continue representing you and continuing the work that I have done for the last 2 years and helping address the issues that students face here on campus. The first step that I would take, if to be elected, is building a cabinet that represents every student here on campus. I want to go out and meet you where you're at your clubs and organizations, at your meetings, and ask you, what are the things that you want to see improved? Who wants to take that challenge on? And I want to recruit a cabinet that, one, is eager to represent the student body, and I want to build a cabinet that represents all students here at Cal Poly. And that is what I want to do to be elected, and that would be my first step as the next ASI president.
Thank you, candidates. The next audience question will start with Alexis and is as follows. What have you done to tangibly impact the student experience?
Yeah, so with my involvements through Audi, LBSA, VP of Outreach for the OCOP Ambassadors, and with my internship with Cal Poly Facilities and Capital Projects, I've got to touch base on a lot of issues on campus. Throughout the summer, I helped get that multi-million-dollar grant. I also helped implement menstrual products in a lot of the restrooms that are in facilities outside of ASI, so like the lecture buildings. I also did a lot of checks on those and made sure that they are ADA compliant. Another thing is that with the VP of Outreach position that I have, I was able to bring back internship opportunities to OCOP students. So just talking a little bit about what I've done, every position that I step in, I make sure to take it a step further because I want to make sure that every student is supported here on campus. And with my ASI presidency, I will make sure that I take it even further than that and support all students on campus, just with the experience that I've had of making sure I touch base with all those with different backgrounds and different identities.
Through the work that I've done this year, there's no question about it that campus engagement is finally returning to pre-pandemic levels. And now's the time to build on that momentum. Under my leadership this year, the executive cabinet was able to host the second annual ASI Club Fair in the winter quarter with over 100 clubs and over 3,000 students in attendance. At this, we piloted the club matchmaking software, and we're able to help students discover clubs that were tailored to their interests. This is something that I look forward to expanding in the fall and becoming a permanent piece of Cal Poly's campus. Additionally, clubs and organizations are really what are at the heart of our student life. This year, we're bringing back the in-person trainings, allowing officers of each club, whether it's president, treasurer, or otherwise, to make sure that they feel like they're supported as they transition into their new role. This will help with understanding the processes of club funding, space reservation, and other Cal Poly Now different types of services. So through these different times, this is how we can engage students. Another thing that I look forward to continuing that we've done this year is ASI student nights within all of our athletics. This year we hosted one at the football game, and we actually have one coming up next Tuesday on the 22nd at the baseball game, so we encourage you to come out to that. But at the end of the day, it's important to engage students no matter where we're at on campus.
As the chair of the University Union Advisory Board, I've overseen the ASI managed facilities for the past years. And at the start of this role, I asked students, what can we do better in these facilities? In the past year, these are some of the things that we've been able to tangibly do. One, install menstrual products in the University Union that saw double the amount of increase than the previous menstrual products used there. And now we are expanding that successful program into the recreational center. Two, I asked students, what are the things that were lacking in the gym? People saw that they wanted more machines, so what did I do? I put in the new hack squats. I put in the new glute bridge machines. I put in, hopefully you've seen, the new massage chairs that are in the front of the recreational center. As the Chief Financial Officer of ASI, I oversaw the ASI student government budget. And along the ASI officers, what I did was increase club funding in the preliminary budget by $65,000 for clubs and organizations. I made sure to pull $25,000 from the ASI student government from the ASI reserves in order to donate that money to the food pantry for a food recovery vehicle so that they can bring food here on campus for students like you. And as the chair of the ASI of the recruitment and elections last year, I tripled the number of students engaged with ASI elections from 6 to 20%. If you're looking for someone who has tangibly done things and has listened to the students, I hope you all know that I'm someone who's going to represent you, he is going to listen to you, and who's done that for this past year.
Being action-oriented is maybe the most important thing you can do as a leader. So here's some things that I've accomplished. I held the first ever Civic Engagement Day, where we brought community leaders on campus to meet with you where you are. Then, I led the team that registered more students to vote than any other school in the CSU. Here's why that matters. That made your voice louder, not only in this community, but across the nation. I was a part of the team working with Mark and Ashley that allocated extra funding to the food pantry. I started a committee to cut red tape around club funding. I voted to increase the amount of club funding and came up with the idea to start a seed fund on club funding so that you could get extra money to start your own club. Next up, I advocated against the construction on ag lands on campus. Here's why that matters. That sets a precedent that learn by doing is the most important thing we have here at Cal Poly. It's up to you to decide whether you want Cal Poly to become filled with parking lots and high-rise buildings, or whether you want your agricultural land to stay labs, to stay classroom space for you. And finally, and to you probably most importantly, I was one of the main students advocating against 7-day parking. Administration wanted you to pay here to be on the weekend. It was me who sent emails, who read them letters, who talked to them about the importance of your organizations being able to operate on the weekends without you paying extra to be here. I've been a vocal advocate for you, for your advocacy, and for your organizations. I will continue to do that if I'm elected.
Thank you, candidates, for those responses. Our last and final question will begin with Colin and is as follows. Even if you were to lose the ASI presidential race, how would you continue to support Cal Poly in its future endeavors?
I think I have the opportunity to do this in multiple ways. First off, being the ASI Chief of Staff right now, being able to be someone that's going to be here in my 4th year, I can help whoever the next ASI Chief of Staff is to make sure that they feel most equipped. If that means that we need to meet next year, I'm completely willing to do that and make sure that they feel like they have the resources and the places to go when they need to support each and every one of the President's goals and initiatives. On another level, having the relationships that I built this year is going to help me with the community relations projects that I'm currently working on as the IFC president, making sure that students are able to engage and interact with each and every one of their neighbors, regardless if it's a student or a full-time resident. These are the opportunities that I have, and I will promise to each of the students, regardless of my status in ASI next year, to make sure that I continue to execute on and make sure that we have a campus that is continuing to function regardless of who is in charge.
First of all, I just want to state that it is an honor to be in front of you here today at the debate, and especially an honor to run against these 3 other qualified candidates. I've had a chance to work alongside Reagan Denny for the past 6 years of my life, and I know that she's someone who I consider someone like family to me. Colin here is someone who I've got a chance to work closely with this past entire year, and I know that he's someone, if to be elected, will do students right. And Alexis is someone who I haven't had the chance to interact with as much. Everything that I've learned about him has always been good things and about the students that he's representing. For me, if I were to lose this election, I hope you know that I will still continue the work that I'm doing. You do not need a title to represent students. You do not need a title to continue doing the work that I have done this past 2 years. And I hope you know that no matter what happens, I will be fighting for students, fighting to ensure accessibility here on campus, and fighting to ensure that this is the quality of education that we are paying for. Your title does not define you, and whether I win or lose, I will ensure that students are represented here on campus.
Let's be honest here. The math up here is not in anyone's favor. I have a 25% chance of winning and a 75% chance of losing. If I lost to any of these candidates, I think it would be one of the greatest honors of my life. Mark is one of my greatest friends in the entire world. Colin, I've gotten to know really well over the last year. He's so passionate about what he believes in. Alexis, I heard about before he even started running about all the fantastic work that he does to advocate in his spaces on campus. There's a 75% chance that they win. And if they win, I think they would do a fantastic job. But here's the reality. Cal Poly's in my blood. 37 years ago, my dad graduated from here. Whether the position on my jacket says ASI president or not, doesn't really matter to me. This school will always be a substantial part of who I am and what I believe in. It's prepared me for my career. It's given me my best friends in the entire world. It would be an honor to lead you, but if it's not me, any one of these candidates could do a fantastic job. I will love this school, I will fight for this school, and I will fight for your voice, no matter what possession is next to my name next year. Thank you.
As I continue my journey here in higher education, I hope to find myself along the way with some of these candidates here. What I've heard from them has been great things as well. Because I'm not an ASI, I haven't heard much of their professional work or professional work, but just throughout this campaign, I've got to know them a little bit from just what I've heard, and it's all been great things. I know that I will continue my work, especially in the spaces that I am in. The spaces that I am in are extremely powerful and extremely influential to many of the students here on campus, especially those like me, those who identify as Latinx students, first-gen students, low-income students, underrepresented students here on campus. I have worked so hard to represent all of you and support everyone, and I will continue to do so through Audi, through ambassadors, through LBSA, and I will also expand my network to continue working in other spaces as well. I hope to leave a legacy here on campus because like many of us, this is my legacy. I am the one paving the path. I am the oldest brother and I am first gen to some of my family, so I am the one paving the path and this is my legacy, and I hope to support all those doing the same thing.
Thank you, candidates, for your insightful and thoughtful responses throughout this debate. You will now have 1 minute and 30 seconds for a closing statement. Mark, we will begin with you.
Once again, I would just like to say thank you to everyone to help put this event on, from Maya to Amelia to the candidates up here on the stage. It is an honor and a privilege to be in front of you here today. Something that I want to leave in front of you all today is I'm someone who has done the work to represent you the past 2 years, and I know that there's still more work to be done. There's still more work to be done in order to address the issues that you face. We heard it from students during this whole entire campaign. Students are facing affordability issues, transportation, housing, and know that I'm someone who wants to ensure that you are being represented next year. I hope that in this past 50 minutes that I've been able to prove to you all that I'm someone who can get the work done. I'm looking forward to seeing how this election goes and know that these people up on this stage are amazing people. And regardless of what happens, I just want to say thank you for allowing me and welcoming me into your spaces. And thank you for letting me represent the students that I want to represent.
Running to represent all of you has been one of the most fun challenges of my entire life. Meeting where you are in a little Denny hat has been like yeah, they're a little funny, has been maybe the most fun thing I've ever done. However, it's also been incredibly difficult. To be frank, I've received a lot of messages telling me to stay where women belong, that I didn't belong in this race, that I didn't deserve to be here, that I was fake, that I was AI, that was a weird one. And so I'm here because if you've ever been told that you weren't good enough to do something, that you didn't deserve to be somewhere, even though you know you did, that you belong here. You have a space and a voice at Cal Poly. Regardless of what happens during these campaigns or after these campaigns, you are what makes Cal Poly what it is. The strength of Cal Poly lies in the fact that we are a family. You are a member of my family, and it's an honor to be a member of yours. If you're looking for a candidate to make you empty promises, to say what you want to hear, don't vote for me. But if you're looking for a candidate who wants to focus on your rights, your resources, and your relationships, who wants to leave Cal Poly better than we found it, I'm your girl. Remember to vote Denny. Thank you.
I'm up here right now representing many students and defeating many odds. As someone up here, the only Latino on this stage and possibly the first Latino president in history of Cal Poly, I want to make sure that many students, not only under my community, but with whatever background, whatever identity it is, I want to make sure you are supported and seen. And that is shown through the work that I've already done and the work that I will continue to do. I am not running off promises, and I will never overpromise and underdeliver. One thing about me is I keep my word, and I hope that you know that as the one candidate on this stage, I will continue to do so much more work. And with your one vote, imagine where we can get to as your ASI president. Make sure to vote Alexis for ASI.
Like the other candidates on the stage, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, the three of you, and all the support staff that helped make this event possible. The opportunity here to represent each and every one of you as ASI president really lies in many of the multifacets that we have here on campus. We know that college is expensive, and if you don't know that each and every one of you pays $1,111.50 to ASI. Many people don't know that, and I want to make sure as ASI president that you get that value out of that. And if you don't, which most students have told me they do not, except for one who told me that they like to take things from the bookstore. But regardless of that, I do not recommend. Point being is I want to make sure you get your value out of Cal Poly. And as a student who's been able to shadow the current ASI president, I look to expand my leadership and to represent each and every one of you. I encourage each and every one of you to vote all in on call-in next Tuesday and Wednesday. Thank you.
And that concludes our 2025-2026 ASI presidential debate. Thank you everyone for joining us today in person and through the live stream. As we stated before, while we do all encourage you to practice free speech, the views expressed by the candidates are their own and not a reflection of ASI, Mustang Media Group, or ASI student government.
The election voting period will take place starting next Tuesday, April 22nd at 8 a.m. and closes Thursday morning, April 24th at 8 a.m. You can vote via your Cal Poly portal, the ASI website, or ASI social media pages. If you have questions about the voting process, please visit the ASI student government booth at the back of the UU. Thank you, candidates, ASI and Mustang News staff, and our audience. Have a great day, Mustangs, and don't forget to vote.